T-minus 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Launch Sequence Podcast, your favorite Star Citizen podcast to listen to. The Toes and the Historians talk about the goodness that is space. Welcome in.
Yes.
Welcome. Today, my friends, is going to be an interesting chat. Usually we pick a topic too and we stick to that. I want to talk about that. We're not doing that today. This is just two friends catching up, talking about Star Citizen. We're going to hit a couple interesting topics that I think you will like. We're going to definitely talk about crafting. We're going to talk about new features coming up, the next update, lore. I mean, you can't not talk about lore with this guy, right? We're also going to maybe talk about a couple other games. Just slip them in here and there. Ashes of Creation and Expanse Osiris Reborn.
Woo.
Looking for a reaction on his face. Let's see if he's into it. Either way, thank you all for joining me. Should be a good talk. Sit back, relax, listen to us chatter. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two.
This is gonna be long. Usually these aren't that long, but I'm here, so it's gonna go long. So make sure you have something to drink. Use the restroom before you get started. You know.
Let's jump into things, dude. I'm gonna go straight into the deep end. We had the crafting and inventory tech preview last week, and we didn't get to talk about it. How did that go for you?
How spicy do you want? Do you want
Spice
the full bore spice? Spiced?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like hot curry chicken.
There's a lot of folks who are not going to be happy with this one. Not because it's good or bad, but simply because it is not what people were hoping for. It is tier 0. It is very much tier 0. They call it tier 0. It is tier 0. It's more of a mining update than it is a crafting update. But at the same time,
give us some detail. Why do you feel like it's tier 0? Like, did that change between the first and second preview channel or tech preview for you?
Kind of. I think there's a lot of the other things they did for this tech preview, like the other modifications they did with mining and stuff like that, kind of shows that this is more of a focusing on trying to make mining more diverse than it is to try to make the Star Citizen crafting better. Like, obviously it's a like a foundational requirement for crafting, and you can still do crafting, but the limited amount of stuff that is available, it's FPS stuff. It's armor and weapon.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be beyond that. Maybe we'll get more. And here's like when it comes out, like maybe smaller, but like equipment or such. But let's be honest here. This is a problem, is that whenever I say tier 0, I guarantee you the audience is going, oh no, because tier 0 means we're not going to get a tier 1 for another 2 years. So this is going to be the thing that you will have for the next year. And so it'll be like, oh, I can't wait to go out and do crafting. And now it's going to be like, do you do FPS? No. Then it won't really matter. The blueprints being kind of randomized when you do missions, rather than you can do this mission for this blueprint, also kind of sucks. And because there's no blueprints specifically for like industry players, it's sort of going to be like, this is for FPS players, and FPS players will just kill people and take their stuff, or it is not going to make a lot of people happy, is what I'm trying to say.
I feel like the tools must be coming in, the FPS tools, because one of the rewards we got is a higher level medical tool, right? So that's got to be part of the first update.
Maybe, possibly. I didn't remember seeing it in the crafting menu.
No, yeah, it wasn't there, but I can't, like, you are right. It would suck if it was all just FPS weapons. It would be nice to be able to craft a tractor beam with maybe a little bit better speed or something.
Yeah, I mean, those things would be better. Medical would be better. Mining tools would be better. Salvage tools would be better. Like any of those sorts of like hand tools would be better. But I don't think it's going to happen. Now, this is hopium. This is the less spicy. This is the more mayonnaise on a hot dog kind of spice. But I do have a hopium that we will see this evolve very quickly once they get the base in. they'll be able to evolve very quickly because there's really nothing that's holding them back except for more complicated blueprints, which mean more than a couple of different things to be added, and then larger crafting benches. This feels more like we're going to get this in and check it to see if it breaks anything, and then if it doesn't, we can just move on and continue to scale this up as they go. That is my hope, but hope is the first step to disappointment. Like especially with Star Citizen, you can't really hope with that.
Yeah, hope is a broken wooden bridge here.
I will say that the inventory system is great. I cannot play Star Citizen now without the new inventory system. The new inventory system is so good.
I think my stream might be a little annoyed at this point of how many times I talk about the inventory being bad now. It's because it's just become so much more clear. I mean, obviously, we know about good inventory from other games.
Yeah.
But getting to use it's just like when we got access to Pyro a year before it was in the game, and you're like, well, now I just want to go and play ruthless Pyro all the time.
Yeah. And the other thing that's a little bit more spicy with that one is it's an evolution, not a revolution. So you're looking at a new inventory system that is mostly just the same inventory system with a new UI updates and some other benefits, but it's quality of life. There's definitely some quality of life stuff. But if
Kraken said it, Kraken called it a lipstick on a pig. You agree?
Kind of. I think it's. I think lipstick on the pig is probably a little bit too negative on it, because a lot of the problems that people have with the inventory are fixed with this. The problems when it comes to the technical, like the speed and those sorts of things, the feedback, all of the bugs that you were going to have with that come from the back end of Star Citizen, those will still happen. Still pulling up your inventory and taking it 17 years for it to load, that's probably still going to happen. It was happening to a lighter degree during the test, so it's almost certainly going to happen. That's not going to be fixed with this system.
I hope it's better. But, man, it's been better. I hope it stays better when we get into live, but we'll see.
Just being able to do proximity loot and stack all, those things are amazing for like inventory. Plus
stack all has been great.
Being able to like attach weapon attachments to your guns without having to like leave the inventory screen, being able to put stuff in your hands and stuff like that without leaving the inventory screen, so I don't have to like put it down to like try to maybe highlight over the hands and mess up and put it on my hip or drop it or something. So
I do a question for the podcast every week on the channel, and last week I asked what's the best part of a good inventory, and 52% of people who answered said stack all.
Stack all's in.
We love a good stack all. And it was a little bit buggy, but I did appreciate it working. I didn't get it to work for like the full medical tool, right? It would be the attachments would stack, but not the medical tools. In other games you've played where there's like an inventory and they do stack all, does it stack everything, like weapons and stuff as well? Yeah.
It depends on the item. So if it was a unique item, no, but it should stack.
How was it for you? Was it glitchy?
It was glitchy. There's definitely like weapons don't stack if you have the same weapon, and there's certain things that just won't stack. But the things that people are most concerned about, like ammo and food and the little like rock ore samples, all of those stack pretty easily.
You mentioned proximity looting. That's kind of, I've noticed, a little contentious amongst people, mainly around the length or the kind of actual proximity you can loot from. Do you have any feelings about it being like too far? Or?
Yeah, it's probably too far, but it's like that's a number on a spreadsheet. Yeah. It's not a fundamental problem.
You say that, sir, but then CIG is going to come up with star area,
booty.
Star proximity, and
star
booty. Well, let me tell you, I didn't realize that the word we use for a fanny pack is used for something else in the UK. And so I put
a fanny pack.
I put a video out, and on the thumbnail in gigantic letters it says star fanny. Everybody's like, tomato. It's like, well,
listen, I have no idea what you're talking about. Star Booty is pirates. Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything else.
The Star Booty.
Um,
But yeah, I like the inventory, the crafting system. I do agree with you. It's definitely light, and it's tier 0. Of course, they added that in there. What do you think is going to be like the bread and butter that people actually want to craft, and what draws people into a system like this?
it's going to be equipment for ships, weapons for ships, and equipment, or like, I guarantee you, there's going to be a huge market for like mining gadgets. The average person who's doing this sort of thing is going to be doing industry, because they're going to be interested in crafting. So anything that would assist assist industry would probably be far more interesting to your average person who's doing crafting than like a better P4. Now, will there be a market for P4? Yeah. The problem is that this is tier 0, and you can't sell a P4 to a player. You might be able to give it to them, but you got to go to UEX. There's no like in-game systems for it. Mm-hmm. So,
also, it's a P4. Like, why would you get that when a P8's over there? Stupid. Yeah. Don't be dumb.
All of them are inferior to Kastak, so it's okay.
You played Star Wars Galaxies, right?
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
Should we start the counter down here, guys? That's a one mention. Did you get involved in crafting in that game a lot?
I was too young for that one, but I did talk with a lot of folks who were into crafting. I mean, yeah, Star Citizen is going for Star Wars Galaxies crafting. It is. They've all but said it, which is the same sort of like you can become very good at making one thing. You have to be A, make it, and B, have the right materials for it. I think that's the one thing that's probably going to be the case, because it's not with tier 0. Anyone can make anything in tier 0, but as they differentiate, and so you have to like be good at making higher tier stuff. You have to do the research and put the time in. That was very much the you have to craft a bunch of the same version to get higher numbers and stuff. So that was very much the Star Wars Galaxies approach, rather than the and again, someone's in chat to be like, that's not exactly what Star Wars Galaxies did. Star Wars Galaxies did this. It's like, I know, I get it, but you get what I'm saying when I say it's the driving force that's driving towards Star Wars Galaxies, a style of, you get somebody who can make something really good because it's the one person who can make something really good, because they spent a lot of time and energy and effort to make that one good thing. So
that sound you made was like scraping the inside of my brain cavity, dude. That was
it's my standard actually response. It's how I say whenever someone says like the video starts at 5 minutes. That's what I hear in my brain.
That's literally what I feel like every time I tell somebody it's quantum and not quanta. I am that guy. I've dropped that battle, folks. Okay, I've left that fight behind.
Yeah, because CIG forgot that it existed, and they just changed the name and didn't tell us, and then changed it again and didn't tell us.
Just like Star Fanny.
Yeah, exactly.
You see, guys, that's what happens. The idea of not being able to craft everything, I don't know if this is because the game isn't finished and there's not enough content, but a lot of people feel like everything should be available to them. Can CIG, like, can they, I know this has been a thing other MMOs have figured out, but CIG, it seems like, has a strong push against like limiting gameplay for people. I guess because we're playing it as it's being built, people can speak a lot more up about them doing that, as opposed to like if you put out a finished game, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going to be able to like figure out a way to get past this, or do you think they're just going to keep kind of making the game more accessible to more people in more places over time? A lot of folks are kind of just wondering, like, when do you draw the line? I think it's
where
derivative.
Where CIG is trying to make it more accessible to more people, to try to open up the gates because they want to have more people. Like, where's the point where we're just like, this is no longer, we're not making, patty cake first gaming simulator. We want to make a game, and this is some of the like the skill. These are the skills, the ceilings we want to set, or floors, or whatever.
Or do you even think they should be limiting a lot of gameplay?
I think CIG should make the game that is actually fun and engaging, and a fun and engaging game is going to isolate and, or should say, alienate some people, because not every game is for everyone. CIG keeps saying this thing where they're like, "We're going to make a game for everyone." It's like, no, you're not. That doesn't exist. A game for everyone is a game for no one. So, like, they have to take a stand, and they have, even though they don't like to talk about it. And I'm not going to touch the third rail here, because every time I touch the third rail, well,
I
no,
don't
this
know,
is
man.
more of a
You're getting
conversation. This is
close.
more of a conversation.
Yeah.
This is a conversation. It's not one. Okay, let's touch the third rail.
We're dipping in.
like NPC crew members. You know, like, I get that's an accessibility thing where they want to make sure that people can play with other people, but I think that that's one of those situations where CIG is going to come down to the point of, like, what game they're making, and they'd be like, well, we want people to play with each other. So we want to make an advantage for people to play with each other, and B, a reason for people to play with each other. And there's no point in doing like an entire looking for group system if you can just hire an NPC to be a gunner or to do engineering on your ship. So, like, I think that they will have to at some point close those gates, in the sense of more of a less of a closing of the gates and more of a finalizing the structure. Right now, it's a wall with gigantic holes in it because they haven't filled in the wall yet. Eventually, they're going to have to fill in that wall so that they can actually have an experience that they want to make. And then that process is going to keep people from coming in who may not like the game, if that's a good analogy. It's just, right now, they're trying to find a good balance between accessibility and gameplay. And eventually, once they hit that accessibility that they want to hit, they're going to have to make gameplay, and they have to make it more interesting and more dynamic, because if everyone can accomplish it, then there's no challenge, and people want challenge in their games.
So I think one interesting example would be back at CitizenCon 2024, Richard Tyrer said, military ships generally won't be sold. You're going to have to earn them, find a blueprint for it, or get it rewarded to you some way. So when we get into those bigger military ships, basically you're locked out of getting one unless you can get the materials, the blueprint, and the space to craft one. Do you think that's reasonable?
Yeah, easily. I think there should be certain things that are only accessible by players who are playing that loop. Like, for instance, smuggling. No reason I'm mentioning that or anything. Players should have access to high-grade stealth components and high-grade stealth upgrades and things like spoofers and things like that. And so if somebody wants access to those stealth components, they either have to go down that route so they can earn those things, or find a smuggler who has access to those things they can give them. Because that's, again, Star Wars Galaxies. You get really good at what you do, and then you become the best at what you do, and thus players will seek you out to achieve those things. Sort of the Magnificent Seven, the Seven Samurai sort of cinematic approach, where they're trying to be like, you've got these experts, or like a heist movie. Everyone has their own like specific skills, and that's MMOs in a nutshell. Yeah, that's MMOs in a nutshell. You want your tank, your DPS, your healer, your AOE. The different types of people to do different types of things, and it's just moving down that direction.
They did that in, I think it was CitizenCon 2023. Yeah, the Starware panel. They like had all the people, and one of them was in the medical gown. Yeah, I know that. I'm the one without the helmet.
Yeah. The guy who has a plan and all that sort of things. And it's clear that they want to move in that direction, and they want to have armor and equipment that it reflects those skills and those events, those things, but they just haven't done it yet. Yeah. I think it's because Star Wars is still a thing they're working on. It's not finished yet.
It's somewhere out there. You mentioned smuggling. How's that been going? Is Tisha giving you any more missions? Are you getting any more fun out of the smuggling, or is it kind of the same since 4.5?
No, it's the same, but he says giving more missions. It's more of it's now just illegal. It's back to the illegal cargo missions, but at least it's interstellar. So now it's like going from one system to another to deliver goods. Sometimes you have to like go to multiple systems, like pick up something in Stanton, and then go to Pyro, pick up something in Pyro, and then come back to Stanton, or vice versa. So
You think they're going to expand on that at all? Like, not even just that, but like mission givers?
I hope so. They did mention it in
Yeah.
um
A
in
talk with Torsten
the
and,
talk with Thorsten, yeah,
yeah, and
and
Elliot.
Elliot, yeah.
Yeah, you think that's like a first half of this year kind of thing? I feel like they were talking kind of about mission givers last year, and then they went quiet on it, and now we don't hear much about it because monthly reports are kind of being a little cagey lately.
I think that they probably have plans for it, but like all CIG things, they have to get a bunch of other stuff working to make it work. I'm afraid that what they're going to do is try to bring, because they're clearly trying to bring back Recco,
Yeah,
Recco Battaglia, and that they want her to be their first return to mission givers. But in the process of doing that, they'll probably go, okay, well, we got that done, and then she'll break, like everything else, and then they'll
no,
abandon
dude,
it and go into the next
no,
one.
we can't do that again. Like we waited
Yep.
6 years because that's what they did the first time.
Yep. Yep.
I will not have it. But I really would like to see, I think a lot of people would like to see something more kind of like engaging and investing. It still feels like when you do a mission, even if it's a mission that has some narrative to it, you finish it and then it's kind of like, I don't know, you feel disconnected, right? You've completed the
Mhm.
QV stations, you've done the you found the smuggler intel, and I guess it's not a completed story, but it's still just sort of, I don't know. It feels like you should be able to do a little bit more. Hi, folks. We just had a
Sorry
little
about
bit of a
that.
break. Mid interview here, we just found out that Chris Roberts had a bit of a interview. I just called it an interview. Mid podcast, we found out that Chris Roberts had an interview. Not really too much crazy or interesting that came out of it, but in the middle of our conversation here, where we're talking about Star Citizen, it makes sense to at least talk about that. And I think the most interesting info that we saw there was obviously they're still shooting for large shards over 10,000 players in an instance or shard. But he also mentioned that he thinks they're going to see 1,000 possible players in a shard this year. Do you
Mhm.
think that one of the things that somebody asked me when I said this on live, like I'd want to see a bigger group, is somebody asked why? And for me, it was really like, I just like seeing ships flying around and stuff. But
Yeah.
do you think it's really that important that they increase the shard size? Like, does it matter that much?
Yeah. They've
At
got a
least
lot of
right now?
space. Yeah. I mean, because there's no content that they have, like, until they can get NPC content in more regularly and more fluidly, just sort of like, jump out of quantum and there's just NPCs traveling around and security patrolling or whatever. Then yeah, they need to have that player traffic.
Yeah.
And it's partially marketing, but it's also like you want to make the world feel more alive, and it does feel more alive now than it's ever been before. But at the same time, what he's probably saying is we want to get 1,000 players plus instancing. So instancing will be a big deal, so that you can still separate those players out, so they don't feel like they're too crowded, but you still have those major hubs that feel big.
Hmm.
You know?
Let me ask you this: if they said that they could get us, I don't know, 50% less frame drops, or they could get the shard size up to 1,500, which would you choose?
Probably 1,500.
You want that
Mostly because
party?
the well, it's more than that. It's like it's better to get the 1,500 because you can then figure out how to get the frames back once you have this number. But if you get the frames back and then you try to eventually get to the 1,500, then you're still going to lose the frames anyways. So I'm of the opinion that CIG needs to start adding more things to the game that they want for the final game, and just break it and then fix once they have those things in. Because there's so many times they've like added something, it's broken, and they went to fix it, and then they add something new, and then it breaks it again, and then they just don't bother going to the other
Yeah.
thing they just broke. Like, it would be a lot easier if everything's in, so that they know what's broken and they can go back and fix it without having to add new things in after that.
So that's
Move fast and
been
break things. Yeah.
that's been a big debate over this last year. Say what you, I mean, obviously last year was the year of playability, so that's a different conversation to have. But a lot of people felt like there was a problem with the fact that CIG was adding these things into the game, which I think most of us at this point understand these are finished parts, right? These are like the stories that are supposed to be in the finished game finally. But as CIG continues to move on, they have problems. The NPCs might break, the boss battle might break, the elevator might break, something breaks, and like they need to go back and fix that. You feel like they should not be doing that? Like they need to just blow through it all and get it in the game? Back to 3.x
Yes
we
and
go?
yeah, well, yes and no. I think they should still fix those things that they added, but it just makes it easier if they just add features. Because one of the biggest issues right now with those sorts of supposedly repeatable things like Hathor or Stormbreaker is those bugs are happening not because they're adding new features, but because they're breaking down. So they need to have a team dedicated to fixing those things anyways, because it's going to happen all the time. So
Yeah.
if they don't have a team dedicated to fixing that now, they won't have it in the future. So they still need to fix those issues. But what I'm saying is like, oh yeah, mining doesn't work properly and things go weird. It's like, cool, is mining done yet? No. So then why are we fixing mining when the mining isn't finished yet? I'd much prefer mining being in a final version and then fixing it, even if it's broken for like 6 months, than taking 2 years to get it to a final version and then fix it while you're fixing it along the way. But I
It's
also know that my opinion isn't going to be popular with that because a lot of people,
well,
clearly, I was the wrong opinion when they did the year of stability because they had their biggest year of ever, and more people came back to play and stuff like that. So
I think everybody is a little bit right there. Obviously, there was a huge miss in the community of features coming into the game last year.
yeah,
Like a lot of people were saying like if engineering didn't come into the game, then this year is a failure. I mean, engineering was not an impressive addition at the end of the year there.
yeah,
The rest of the year was fantastic, I think, aside from a few things, but it's there's definitely I think reason for both camps to feel a little bit vindicated here. Like the game needs stability, it needs to stabilize that milestone that they reached, but at the same time, it's so far from being done that they can't stop making features again. I yeah, it's hard. I definitely don't think they should have done a year of playability, but dang, did it not help.
yeah. I I think the real answer is that no matter what I would say I want, what matters is that CIG is doing something that keeps them a like in the money and b keeps the fans happy.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, that means that they're going to fall into the trap that a lot of people are saying, like, oh yeah, they never fix anything, they never finish anything, they just keep doing things and it breaks, and they never add all of these features they want to add, and it's the like, yeah, they're gonna end up falling into that, see, they're a scam sort of crowd because they'll never be able to please that crowd though. So it's a matter more of like get as many people as you can while finishing the game. So
All right, you
I'll
brought up
say this
money.
right now. I'm going to say this right now. No matter what, Squadron 42 could be a 10 out of 10 game, generational change and sell 1 million copies in the first month, and people will still say, "Well, it didn't make $1 billion, so it's a financial failure." Like no matter what, people will call it a failure. Say this is the $1 billion boondoggle. So you're never going to win.
Right.
If you're not going to win, just do
Yeah.
what you want to do
Well,
and get out.
that's going to be the funny response as people who are saying it needs to make $1 billion, but because people keep saying that, they're like, they how are they going to break even with this sale? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. They don't have to
Um,
break even. They just have to make money.
so you mentioned money, and you just did it again. Look at you. So I figure
Yes.
we might as well jump into
Yes.
this topic, folks. Remember, the chapters are down below. I'm actively typing them in for you, so you can skip this if you'd like. But I do want to talk a little bit about the funding, because Star Citizen is still beating freaking records. They're still breaking records this year. They just had their best January and February of funding ever, and then for whatever reason, they were like, you know what? Best February ever? Nonsense. Origins sale. Like, do they? You said as long as they're in the money, they're doing okay, and we all want to make sure they're doing okay funding wise. But like, what
Yeah.
was that Origin sale? Do you think that they're
It
trying
was an
to?
experiment.
Yeah, and for
Yeah.
what? What do you think they're trying to see?
Well, you remember how they did patch bundles?
Yeah, they
And
just tried them out, and
they obviously sold well, so they just changed it to being monthly bundles.
yeah,
This is them doing the same thing. They're trying to figure out if they can do more sales of like maybe the larger ships, maybe doing the CCU sale. This feels like a CCU sale attempt because they know people like CCUs, and CIG usually fights what the community wants until they can realize they can make money from it, and then they wholeheartedly embrace it, and then they build around this change so that it doesn't matter anymore. Like that's what they did with LTI. Everyone, they kept saying LTI is not that big of a deal. There are going to be other things you have to deal with, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, I have to get LTI, otherwise I will lose the game. I need to have everything have LTI. I feel uncomfortable without having LTI. I could lose my ship." And they're like, "No, you won't lose it, guys. It'll be fine. It's just like a little bonus, and it's only going to be basic insurance. So what you're saying is I really need it." And they're like, "Fine, yes, you do. Here you go. We're not going to change our mind, but we're going to make the LTI sound like a big deal." And so people will buy LTI because they FOMO themselves into buying LTI. I've constantly said that CIG sort of bumbles their way into success rather than plans. They just sort of like derp their way into being, oh, wait, the players like this. Let's do this. And then they adopt it. And people are like, well, see, CIG is trying to scam their players. It's like the players are trying to scam themselves. These are things that the players asked specifically CIG to do. And it's weird to say, but
it is always
where we
funny
are.
when CIG resists something that like would work, and then they accidentally do it and it works, and then and then it just keeps going from there. Yeah, I think obviously they need to be diversifying the like the money flow throughout the year. Do you think that was like unplanned though? It felt like it came out of nowhere.
I don't think I think it was unplanned in the sense that they didn't tell us about it, but it was definitely planned probably in January.
Yeah.
CIG is constantly looking to try to increase their revenue in some way. So, so following CIG's train of thought over the last several, I guess a decade now, they generally try to experiment with something new, and if it works, they sort of iterate on it, and if it doesn't, they just put it away. But they're always trying to every year increase the amount of money they're making in some way, shape, or form. They rarely stay still, but they keep what works and throw away what doesn't. Like Invictus was literally just, we make all of our money at the end of the year. What if we make a anniversary sale, but in May, so we can do it in halfway through the year, so we can have two big sales, and it worked.
Yeah, it did work really well. It actually became the bigger sale for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's easy to forget. I think it was before maybe 2020, 2019. We didn't have the big Invictus event.
No, that was a money making scheme, and people just like, hey, this is cool. I like to be able to get my Idris two times a year rather than one. You know.
So on that note, they obviously are pretty good at making money.
Yes.
One of the biggest stories in gaming, probably this quarter, possibly this year, has been the complete and utterly somewhat expected collapse by some people of Ashes of Creation a few weeks ago now. I don't know how closely you've been following that story, but obviously with Star Citizen coming up often in the same conversation as that game, even though they're not the same, we all know this. It does come up. And if you go around the internet and you see these conversations, eventually Star Citizen comes up. Do you think that Star Citizen players can actually like learn or get anything from looking at how this all played out?
Yeah. Be glad that CIG isn't the team that was making was making that game, because I should look at the name again.
Ashes of
Creation. I always get it confused. Ashes of Creation. I always get it confused with the other game that like Lord British made. The one that the crossbow comes from.
Oh,
I get those two mixed up. I'm not a big fan of fantasy, so like I I had that
Shroud of
problem where
no,
like
no.
yeah, Shroud of the Avatar. I think Shroud
Yeah,
of the
is that
Avatar.
it? Yeah, Shroud of the
Yeah,
Avatar.
but like I take a look at like these fantasy games and they all blur together in my brain. So it's just like, is it Skyrim? No, then it's Shroud of the
War, God of Shroud.
creation war. Oh God,
Is that how
Heim.
people talk about
Like
space games, dude?
yeah, see, I have the opposite because I'm like all fantasy games run together in my brain. Um, I think the earnest thing is that Ashes of Creation as a project and as a technical like game failed. They didn't luck out like CIG did in terms of their funding, so they had to go more private funding. And I mean, if you want to say like the CEO of the Ashes of Creation is what everyone who's negative about Star Citizen seems to think Chris Roberts is. Like according to like the accusations, he funded his house with backer money from Ashes of Creation, and like he was using that money like he was basically embezzling funds for his own personal use with it, which is why the money left. And it was just a giant like red flag and this is of course allegedly between the two different sides that are fighting each other. The investors are claiming that the CEO scammed them. The CEO is claiming that the investors scammed them. The poor like developers are just getting screwed out of their jobs.
Yeah.
And yeah. So, and I think the one reason why Ashes of Creation and Star Citizen get lumped together a lot is because Ashes of Creation was using the same dynamic meshing system that Star Citizen was using. So they were in a competition to see who was going to get what. And I think they had similar funding backgrounds. So Ashes of Creation was seen as sort of like the fantasy version of Star Citizen. So if the fantasy version of Star Citizen fails,
the Star Citizen of MMOs.
which is weird because Star Citizen is an MMO.
Yeah, I was always like, what does that mean?
But it didn't work, and I think what it should reinforce is that no one will ever make Star Citizen except for CIG. It's too expensive. And there's too many problems trying to do it independently. No AAA developer will ever make it because the technology they're working on is super difficult to make it work. It requires a lot of time and effort and a lot of patience. And without the unique things that CIG managed to hit on, I don't think any other game company could do it. And the fact that, quite frankly, and this is going to sound like me riding in a white knight because people always claim I'm a white knight, but I think that for their flaws, and there's a lot of flaws, their management team has managed to keep things on the ball in terms of trying to thread the needle between I have to take care of 1,000 people and I got to make a video game. They're trying to juggle that. And it's clear that they care about making a video game and treating developers with care compared to the kind of thing that it's become far too common for a CEO of a video game company to be like, I'm going to go to Vegas and blow everything on, hookers and illegal drugs. Like,
it's research.
I mean, Rockstar famously would force people, men and women, who, especially even if they're uncomfortable, to go to strip clubs to be able to pitch ideas for like GTA. The BioWare famously like abused its own staff, like basic to the point of suicide in some cases. That's not to mention Blizzard's problems, and it's clear that like there is a cultural problem fundamentally with the C-suite developers, and I think that's what Ashes of Creation is really also showing, is that problem has gone away. That old boys network, because the person who created Ashes of Creation was part of that sort of that culture, and that I think he came from that same sort of field. It's clear that it still exists, and we're all lucky that Chris Roberts is too much of a square to go to Vegas with a pile of coke.
He would lock that dance floor down, dude.
Yeah, he would party it up. He would white man dance through the entire night.
Holy crap!
He would be talking people's ears off. Like he wouldn't be cool. He'd be sitting there. That guy who's like, the meme of the guys talking to the girl's ear.
The girl
You're
is like,
it's a game. Yeah, it's a game about space travel, and it's my vision forever.
like,
Do you know what an Alcubierre drive is? Because that's what I'm doing, man. You know,
but you're the eyeballs. Like, you're looking through the eyeballs at the coffee cup.
the first and third person animations are linked, man. All right, you don't understand. He is the lamest guy, and we are so lucky that he is the lamest dude when it comes to this thing.
Can only make fun of those things because we know them that well, though. Like, that's what I
we're
say
all
to
lame
people.
nerds, you know.
Oh man. But yeah,
I say that as somebody who's been to Vegas and went to Vegas for a Star Citizen convention and didn't go to any casinos.
Oh yeah, dude. Totally went in the XS and just told everybody about the new update. Dude, check out Iria now. They got ice on Microtech, bro. Yeah, I think you're right about like C-suite. Do you think it's money drive? Obviously, it's very easy to point at money people, investors coming into companies and ruining games. Do you think that's really it, or is there something else to it?
I think it's more than money. I do think that it's a culture thing. I think that money is part of it, but like you and I grew up in a fairly similar area, and I grew up around Silicon Valley, around investors. You know, my parents worked for as marketing researchers for a lot of the companies in that region, so they didn't always work with software, but they did often work with software. For instance, they worked with Oracle when they were a much younger company. Now that they're the kings of the world, basically.
Yeah.
So like I was exposed to that sort of underbelly, and the one thing that I can say is that culture is built off of like three things. One, it's constantly trying to outcompete everybody else by seeing the future. So they have to figure out what the future would be and invest in the future before anybody else. So it's all about hustling and trying to prove to everyone that you are the future. And it's also all about really, really phony connections where people are like making connections with each other because they can see if they could use each other rather than if they
mutually
can
beneficial friendships. Yeah.
And then it's all, and then thirdly, it's all about rising up, becoming better, being better than somebody else, competing with other people. And that it's really prevalent in like the upper billionaire class, but when it comes to game CEOs, they seem to fall into the same problem. They see themselves as artists and as inventors, and they think they can do everything but art. You know, but the actual like art of a video game. And a lot of times they can't. A lot of times they're just okay coders or, you know, decent gameplay designers, but like they don't have that other skill set. And so they let that ego run them rather than admitting that I have no idea how to run a company. Maybe I should hire somebody who knows how to run a company so I can focus on the game development and stuff like that. I think to a degree, it's the lack of suits that makes some of these companies worse than they are, because it's a bunch of bros trying to, you know, tech bros trying to do a game. And that sounds different. Even when I say that, it sounds completely different than like for some people it's going to mean. But I mean more like a bunch of gamers, capital G gamers, trying to do something together because they have a passion for it, but also because they want to make Halo or Mass Effect. And I think you know what I'm talking about when I say like everyone's making Overwatch. Why is everyone making Overwatch? Because Overwatch made so much money and was so successful and had an esports, you know, league, and everyone talked about it. And, you know, like it's so throughout gaming culture, Overwatch is like very prevalent. Same with like, you know, WoW. Everyone wanted to make WoW in the early 2010s because
Fortnite,
it was everywhere.
Overwatch,
Fortnite,
WoW. Yeah.
And you'll see that and like often, and I think that may be one of the reasons, like things like Ashes of Creation. Everyone's making an MMO, so we make an MMO because the MMOs are what is the zeitgeist.
None of them make it.
But if they do, it's that small chance that they do, and that small chance is all they need because they want to prove that they did well. They want to be able to sell their company to Blizzard or to Microsoft for $1 billion. That is the the Silicon Valley mentality that has infected gaming. Is I want to make a game that is a blockbuster game that I can sell to Sony, and I can go live on an island and make whatever game I want to.
But at the end of the day, the drive there is still the money.
It is. It's the fame and the money.
Yeah, yeah.
The
But
money.
it's not the game.
No, I don't. I think that there are legitimate people who want to make the game, but those people generally don't make these sorts of bombastic games. They make Peak. They make Expedition 33. They make Helldivers. You know,
Or
they make
driven
games. Or they get driven out. They make games that are clearly passion projects for them, rather than a game for the hype cycle. I think that's one of the problems with Star Citizen, is that it sort of bridges that gap. Like, Chris Roberts has always wanted to do this because he's insane. But to the average person, this looks like, oh, this is just a dude who wants to make money because he's hitting all the buzzwords of what people want to make. It's like, Chris has wanted to do this in the 1990s. He's just insane and wanted to do it before the technology existed. So, yeah.
I was going to say, do you think that there is a spectrum of that? Like, it's not like everybody at Star Citizen at CIG is gunning for the game, right? Do you think there are people in the C-suite area who are just here to try and see if they can make the most from Star Citizen?
I think there were. I don't think there are now. I think they're all in it. This is going to sound odd, but talking with CIG developers, there is almost a cult-like response you'll hear from the developers.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah. It's not. I say it's cult-like because to anyone listening, it sounds very culty. But it comes from the fact that Chris Roberts is the guy who owns the studio. He owns 70% of the company, founded everything, But they'll say things like, "We're here to do Chris's vision." Oh yeah, we're here to help the backers. Like, they have the mantras. They have these mantras which sound very cult-like. But I know. I'm not making this any better. But I think it comes
clipped somewhere.
Oh, it is. But I mean, you can see it. It's not hidden. CIG does this all the time when you see them in public in interviews. But I think that is there as sort of the core of a typical core company. Companies have to have a base, like Arrowhead Studios, who made Helldivers 2. There's something they force all of their employees to internalize, which is a game for everyone is a game for no one. It's a mantra that they say constantly. It's because it's their core cultural value. They want to make a game that is for a specific niche audience, and they're going to have fun with it, but it's not going to be a game for everyone. They're not there for inclusion. They're there to make a fun game. If you don't like it, cool. There's other games you can go play. Don't play our game.
But
and that's what I mean. So, like, this sort of, like, we're here for the backers. It's Chris's vision. It means that, like, there's clearly something there that is beyond more than just I'm here to make money. It's I'm here to do this thing that we all want to do.
I'm going to take the prickly pear path here.
Go for it.
Is it not problematic to make that one thing be based on a person and their opinion, as opposed to like a core philosophy?
I do think that's a problem. I think if Chris were to unfortunately leave us tomorrow, I think CIG would be in a lot of trouble. And I think that is definitely an issue. I think that's one of the things the reason why Richard Tyre is so important, because he seems to bring it back from this is Chris's vision to let's make a game. Let's to take Chris's vision and turn it into a fun game that's good forever. Like the best game we can ever make. Like there seems to be that sort of change going on where it's like, we are going to make the most fun, epic game ever, which is why they want to make a game for everyone. I think there's a problem there, but I can see the sort of mantra being built around with Richard Tyre. And Richard Tyre was the kind of guy who came in and saved Squadron. He's the guy who came in, refocused everything in Squadron, and got it out the door, or got it to the place where it is now. So he's coming into Star Citizen to do the same thing, and you can see that with that 1.0 vision, where before it was very much like, yeah, we want to make the game, but now that it's 1.0 is there, when I talk to CIG developers, they're like, feels different. Like they feel like they have a goal, they have an accomplishment, they have an end point that they can see, and they can like know what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was sort of more nebulous, more amorphous. as an idea.
Ooh, man. I mean, I thought it was good for us to have that kind of messaging. The fact that the devs didn't have that, bro. Um, how do you think he's been doing it that so far? Are you Team Rich?
I'm cautiously Team Rich. Like I said, I don't like his concept that this game is for everyone because I'm a jealous idiot who's like, no, mine. No, I close the gates. No, no allowed. No, I am not gatekeeper. No, it's more of I feel like that vision is too, what's the saying? Like, you don't be so open-minded your brain falls out. Like
I've not heard that.
like you got to be open-minded, but don't be so open-minded that your brain falls out. Or
yeah. You got to take some choices somewhere.
Yeah, make a stand, and you're gonna, no matter what they do, you're gonna make a stand that people won't like. So there's gonna be some game decisions that will alienate people. You're never going to make a game for everyone. So make a game that you think is fun. But I don't think I think that's sort of the direction they're going, but they're trying to make it as accessible as possible, in the sense that they're trying to bridge that PvP PvE gap. They're trying to make a game where a industry guy who would normally be in his Valheim world building his epic, longhouse, is making a base on a planet, and a PvP guy goes to him because he's like, well, this guy just does nothing but make, bulldogs all day long. So this man has the best bulldogs in the industry. I'm going to go to this guy because he just works, and then pay that guy for the stuff so he can go off and do his own PvP stuff. They want that sort of blending of this PvE PvP world where players are interacting with each other and you have that emergent gameplay. It's clear that's what they're going for. They do. And I think that's the reason why Star Citizen is so liked and so anticipated by so many people, because they can see where that goes. Because you can see that a little bit in other games, but not to the extent that CIG is trying to do. It's one of the reasons why I call the third rail the no NPCs, because I think at the end of the day, CIG will hit that wall of being like, well, we want more players to play. But the NPCs are going to remove that aspect. So why are we going to step backwards when we want to get people to play with each other? Because that makes more interesting gameplay.
You think they can really do it though? There's so much pushback of people not wanting to interact with others. And I don't mean like, oh, I don't want to party up with people. People are like, want to avoid people. They want to be alone. And it's weird to go to a public park and be like, I want to be alone. But that's how a lot of people are. Do you think that CIG is going to be able to make this a game style that obviously enough people have to do it for them to invest developer time into making it better? Do you think they'll hit that milestone?
Yeah. This is going to sound very, very like, man, I'm just going to make your whole comment section angry for this episode. I can already see it.
Let's go.
And I'm doing it just so you know, commenter who's angrily typing right now. I'm doing it because you're angrily typing, which is engagement.
Give it the timestamp down below if you guys are still here.
Yeah.
Call them out.
But I think that the people who are so vociferously pro PvP or pro PvE, in the sense of like the people who are like, I want to be able to murder hobo my way across the universe. I want to pee in everyone's Cheerios. I want to be able to, to be the just being an asshole, just be a bastard kind of guy. That person is wrong. That's not Star Citizen is going to be. And the same people are like, I just want to like be able to turn off matchmaking and go off into my own little world and make my own thing. They're also wrong. I think both those people are also incredible minorities in the community. I think the vast majority of the community doesn't even watch us, doesn't even watch the biggest Star Citizen content creators out there. They don't care. They play the game. And those people are constantly trying to play with each other and hang out with each other, talk with each other, and bring their friends in because they want to have more people on their ships. So I think the actual game community, as arrogant as this is going to sound, which is why this is going to piss people off, it does want what CIG wants, which is multi-crew, people playing together to achieve goals, to achieve like goals together. I think that is, and PvE and with some PvP mixed in. Like, I think that is what people want. as more of a to not sound too arrogant, but like a silent majority. Because again, CIG's metrics bear out that there's a lot of people playing. And I'm looking at Star Citizen content on YouTube and Twitch, and it's nowhere near the numbers of people who are playing. So a very small minority of the community actually gets into these sorts of discussions on Spectrum and on Twitter and on Reddit and on YouTube comments. They are the minority, not the majority of the community. As much as they want to believe they're the majority of the community, they're the minority. So I think that there is a silent majority that wants that.
It feels like the amount of people who would click on a Star Citizen YouTube channel or Star Citizen YouTube video from the official channel on any given day is like less than 30,000. If we're talking a video that's like over 15 minutes long, they obviously go up from there. A lot of the ISCs are hitting way above that, but like on that one day, in the first day, 30,000 views seems reasonable. What were the like daily average numbers they were saying? Or I guess you had to calculate it based on the like hours they gave and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But they had some crazy average hours played or something like that, right?
It would have put them up in the top 10 of Steam.
Right.
Like Steam's most played.
Yeah, yeah.
We're talking like 70, 80,000 people are playing on a regular basis.
Just that's
and maybe even higher.
More than I would think. More than I figured. Do you think it's regularly going up?
I do think so. Based off of the fact that they've had more new citizens sign up this month than they've ever had in February before, and that trend is going up. Like the new citizen signups is going up. They're ahead of what they were last year, and last year was pretty good. I think it ebbs and flows, but I do think that Star Citizen is returning to its pre 318 hype cycle. Whereas if you remember before 318, a lot of content creators were playing the game, new people were coming in, people who you didn't think were going to cover these topics were covering these topics.
Wait, have we escaped the dark age of the big tech hurdles?
Yeah, I think we have. I was always cautious to say like would the floodgates would open when these tech was done. I said, it'll probably trickle out more than it was before, and we are starting to see that trickle out more. The fact they're doing the UI update and the crafting update within like 3 months of the new year, on top of having engineering 4 months ago, and likely scanning is probably going to be in by May. I'm trying to think of what are the other ones that are likely going to come out.
Transport refactor they're working on.
Yeah, that's probably going to be out in like May or July. Like there's the dynamic server meshing or semi-dynamic server meshing that they're working on. So like you're looking at a significant increase in tech that's coming out, and I think that is correlating with more people coming in to play the game than ever. And I think that they're beginning more excited because they're seeing the game come to not to a release, but to a crescendo. We're reaching the end. And I know that sounds weird saying you're reaching the end. We're reaching the end of like 2-3 years from now, kind of thing. Ugh. We're reaching the end of alpha. We're barreling towards that beta status, for good or for ill, in CIG soon terms, which is like year plus out. But I do think that people are seeing that and either hopping back in because they left or joining in because after their friend said, "Hey, you should join the game," because Vulkan was added recently, and the new Vulkan renderer is doing pretty well. Still causes weird things with my system, but it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's been a little bit rough.
FPS. It increased FPS across the board. Yeah. So it just also causes weird glitches on my screen because I have a 970 XT.
It's got like the ground textures tear open more often, and like kind of weird stuff happens there. Yeah. One last thing I wanted to ask you about when it comes to the correction or the direction of Star Citizen, and this falls in line with kind of everything we've been talking about: PvE, PvP, danger, security, rich tower. One of the shorthand things that I see people say about Star Citizen in general, but also specifically Rich, It seems like a very common Reddit thing, and I'm wondering where it comes from. The idea that all of the devs are Call of Duty devs or players. People oftentimes will point back to the comment that the dev made about, I think, salvagers, something. I don't know. People they're really offended by it. I think he made like a joke that like salvagers were lazy or something like that, or cowards. I don't know. There's this whole thought though that's building in this corner of Star Citizen that CIG is like actively trying to push guns into everyone's hands and make sure everyone's playing like Call of Duty, and they don't want any industry and stuff to go on. They think a lot of people think this is coming from Rich. Do you think that there has been a shift in the direction of more combat, or do you think that they are just being a little bit not great about balancing the way they're delivering stuff?
I have a way to answer this visually.
Oh, I
This
love
is a
visual aids.
representation of what Star Citizen has always been, according to Chris Roberts.
Try to give you guys a description if you're just listening. It's currently a chair. Riveting.
Welcome to Space America. This is where we get guns and we protect ourselves with freedom. We're going to mine some oil. We're going to spread freedom with voracious enjoyment as we free the galaxy from oppression. Ye fucking haw.
This is definitely going on the thumbnail.
I mean, it's space Wild West. It's a space western to a degree, is what Chris is what they're doing, and that's really the thing you got to understand is that the guns are there to look cool. They are there to be functional. Obviously, they want you to be able to defend yourself, and they want to have like some action and such. But the guns are there for aesthetics. If they weren't there for aesthetics, they wouldn't make them try to look cool. Like they wouldn't have given us the Coda, which is a literal revolver. You know, space revolver.
Sick. That gun is so much fun to use. But yeah, like why does the Raft have freaking forward-facing guns on it?
Because every ship has guns on it, baby. That's the way it works.
Oh my god!
It's why did every wagon train have shotguns and Winchesters in them? Because
I mean, you could turn those around. I would get it if it was like a turret on the top of the ship. It's just industrial ships having offensive weapons. It's always silly to me. But I hear you, and I get where you're coming from. But do you think they can actually communicate that to people?
I think one of the biggest problems is that the game isn't finished yet. So they are missing wild gaps of what they can do and what they want to do. Because I guarantee you, based off of what CIG has shown in the past, one of the ways they want to be able to solve problems is through communication. They want you to be able to walk up to an NPC and either through your reputation or through the right dialogue choices, because you know like what gang they're from and you know some background for them, because you understand the game logic, or you understand like maybe you ran into their stuff. Like you walk into a Fire Rats character and they stop and you manage to say the Fire Rats prayer. Like you know what the option is for the Fire Rats prayer, and you say it and they go, "You're all right, kid," and they let you go. You know, or if you have the right reputation, you can be like, no, I know Tisia. And they go, all right, cool. You're good. We're good. Sorry about that. You know, they want that sort of experience to happen because it's the kind of experience that happened in Privateer and Freelancer. You know, you just got to look at Chris's previous games to kind of see the direction they want to go with.
I need to go play those.
It's just not ready. Those features aren't done yet. And as a result, what they do have is NPCs who will shoot at you and sometimes really good. Yes. And they will cower. So as a result, that's what we have. So they'll add that and then they'll add the other stuff and fix it later is the kind of the direction that I'm seeing. So.
You mentioned gangs.
Yes.
Let's talk about gangs.
We're talking about reputation?
Yeah. Lord Stradamus is here, folks. How are we going to take a whole hour to get to this point? Reputation's a great segue into that. What the hell's going on, dude? Where's the reputation? Paul, we've been in Pyro for 2 years.
You want me to tell you the truth about Pyro?
1 year.
I can tell you the truth about Pyro?
Sure.
The truth about Pyro is it's a failed experiment. CIG moved on from Pyro in 2022. But Pyro was built in 2020. So What do you do once you've actually finished the tech that can let you let Pyro come in, but you've already 2-3 generations ahead in Planet Tech? Like, what do you do? Do you wait until Planet Tech is ready and then release it? Or because you've been saying road to Pyro, road to Pyro, road to Pyro, road to Pyro, and you just drop it out and then make it work? The answer was they just dropped it and made it work.
Do you
This
think
isn't
they
like a internal leaking or anything, by the way. This is just my observation, because they have abandoned Pyro like entirely. Like, not even the narrative takes place in Pyro. The only time they take place takes place in Pyro is after they can build their own things onto the existing structure of Pyro. They're not even using like like actual like outposts of Pyro. They just have to build their own outposts for like the the
SD
Stormbreaker and
stuff?
such.
Yeah. Yeah. Little retrospective on Pyro there, huh? It really does feel like, I mean, what are the things that made Pyro different? I hate it. I made this video about, is Pyro just Red Stanton? And it's not, it's worse.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no there's no security, right? And yeah, okay, it's lawless, cool. No gang is not running security in their territory. I'm sorry. I've played so many games where there are lawless areas. I think I was just talking about Star Wars Outlaws on stream today. They
yeah,
have reputation. You get attacked by people when you go there because you've done something that they don't like. It doesn't matter if you broke the law. And everybody's like,
yeah,
you're not going to get attacked in Pyro. They dropped the ball. It's a reputation.
yeah.
No solar flares. No refueling gameplay. They added more space stations that aren't owned by gangs. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what did we get from Pyro?
We got another system, more space. Nix is their response. The way they're fixing Nix, and because like the problem is that, for those of you who don't know, Pyro is supposed to have in lore. There's gangs I don't even know about that the developers or the writers themselves have written down. It's something like 25 gangs are supposed
Jesus.
to exist. Yeah, it's insane, and we know of that are in game right now in Pyro. We know of the Horizon Gang. We have the Fire Rats. We have the Xeno Threat. We have the Rough and Ready, and we have the Headhunters. And of course, we also have the CFP, which is technically its own gang. And we did have the Frontier Fighters. So it was 6 to 7 gangs. And that's not a 6-7 joke. It's just reality of what it is. And all of them have lore. The Horizon Mercs or Horizon Gang is obviously a nod to the Horizon Mercs from Mass Effect. But they and the Fire Rats hate each other for whatever reason. We don't know why. The Fire Rats are player made. Literally, we invented it on a live stream, and they kind of filled it out. They're a cult that worships the star as a god.
Actually came across one of their effigies in the space
Museum.
station recently. Yeah, and like they sacrificed somebody on there. That's pretty. I wish they would build that out. It's interesting stuff.
The way that you get initiated into the Fire Rats is you have to expose yourself to a solar flare.
That's
And
fun.
the lucky ones are the ones who die. Like if you die from a solar flare exposure, you're considered clean. You were clean and the god took you. But if you weren't, if you survived, those scars are a reminder of your sins.
So did that hazing ritual happen before or after regeneration became a thing?
Before. Well before.
So now, do you have to go even more hardcore?
I don't know.
You have to have a regen bed there next to you in the solar flare.
Well, there's a whole thing that's a problem with like Pyro. This is why Pyro sucks. Is that Pyro has a lore piece called the Prophet of Pyro. So in the caves of Monox, there's supposed to be, when the solar flares hit at the right time, there's supposed to be a voice that whispers. So like it's like the minerals react with the solar flare, and so it sounds like and through the canyons. And so the Fire Rats go to these caves and listen for the whispers, and they interpret the whispers to tell what the god of the Prophet of Pyro is what they call it, what Pyro the god wants. And so they go there, like the higher ups go there to listen to it. And there's a whole like history about how someone was like going, one of the gang members was down in the caves and heard ruler of ruin, and she took that as a because it predates the gangs. Like the original Pyrotechnic Amalgamated mine operation there, they heard like some whisper that said, "Leave or be crushed," and everyone was like, that was a voice talking to us, to the point where we have reports in lore of them complaining to the management that there's a ghost or someone's messing with them in this because they thought it was a threat. They thought it was someone was trying to make a threat, so they looked for like devices that would be giving voice, like broadcasting devices. They did safety inspections. They checked all the logs of people coming in and out of the area. All of them was fine. They said, "You're just crazy," and people were like, "No, I'm not working that mine. That mine is haunted. I'm gonna die because that thing's gonna crush me." And that rumor spread all over Pyro from then till the modern day, and it sort of evolved into being this future telling prophet. That sounds cool as hell. I would love to go to the mines of Monarchs and just randomly be mining and hear something hear effectively Disco Lando going into the microphone, and I can just audio pareidolia myself into saying, did Disco Lando just said I'm going to be the king, or something like that. That would be cool. That would be a nice little atmospheric thing, because Monarchs is already creepy. It would add a little bit more to it, and that's like a little piece of lore that they wrote. Guess what? It doesn't matter. It's not in the game. It probably will never be in the game until someone at CIG remembers.
Oh man, I wanted that. That was going to be so. I actually was really. I'm dumb. I'm stupid for thinking that they were going to do that when they brought Pyro in. Okay, I thought we were going to get at least a little bit of the lore in there.
Too. I thought that was going to happen too, because there's literally an outpost called Prophet's Rest.
Stupid, dude.
Yeah. There's literally an outpost called Prophet's Rest, and I'm like, and it's spelled like it, and I'm like, it's got a giant Evangelion cross sticking out of it. I'm like, CIG is obviously telling us this is a religious site, and it's like, no.
They're getting there. They're adding lore in some places, but what they've done to Pyro is absolutely awful.
They need to go back and rebuild it.
Yeah.
And I think they're waiting for Genesis. Because that's the problem is they need reputation system, because everyone has wanted the fight for Pyro, where you can pick a side with a gang and try to take territory. Give me shifting territorial lines and like a game in like a GTA 3, like San Andreas, where you can assault an area that's controlled by NPCs, and then players might be able to show up who are helping those NPCs out and fight you to try to see who can control an area. Planet side, but with NPCs, but on a system-wide scale. That would be really fun. People would get really into it. But they won't, because they don't have the reputation system. And I think that they need to get Genesis working too. So,
well, yeah. So, what do you think? I do agree about Genesis. I don't think they're going to touch Pyro this year. Hopefully, they get to it next year. But then it's like, well, then there's Castra, and they also have to update Stanton, and the work piles up. But why do you think the reputation system is? Do you think that's just waiting for the new mission system or something?
Yeah, I think it's because they actually have been working on it apparently in the background. I think they've been waiting for the mission system, the crafting system, all of the other systems that would pile into it, because there's no reason to add reputation if there isn't a reason to take reputation, and money isn't reputation enough. You need blueprints or other things. I think it's just a matter of getting other features were more priority so that they could get those in, and then they'll add the reputation in. Because I can't imagine the reputation is that much different than it is now. It's just going to be likely a little bit different UI, and they've said that it's going to be more based off of the larger spheres, the transport guild, the syndicate, and the syndicate, what do they call it, the council, and the mercenaries guild, and the mining guild and stuff like that. So
let's dive a little bit deeper into the lore, because you kind of got into it a bit there with Pyro. Obviously, Pyro is not the focus as much going forward. The story did start there, but then it took us to Stanton, and now it's taken us to Nyx. How do you think they've been doing with the story so far? Comparing the beginning, how it started. Clearly it was the B story, now suddenly it's the A story, and how it has been going since they got into Nyx.
I think it's been kind of slow, but it's also the beginning of the year, so it's the beginning of the year always seems to be a little slower for the storytelling. I do like the trajectory they're going. There is an obvious answer to what they're going to do, but I also don't think that CIG has the guts to go that direction. If they did, hats off to you. You know, like, oh, do this properly.
Are you talking
hats off to you, you know, CIG.
You talking war?
War. People's Alliance versus UEE.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
a conflict over the future of Nyx, with players backing one side or the other to try to help out, and, you know, taking place over the course of 2 months. I mean, talk about an event. People would come back for that. You know, I've just been playing Helldivers 2, and the amount of people who came back for the invasion of Cyberstan was massive. They right now,
Cyberstan?
because it's the head of the robots. They're not subtle. It's not a subtle storytelling in Helldivers 2. It's the capital planet of the robot planet. It's even worse than that. They also had like Soviet era style statues everywhere of like robots,
God,
you
dude.
know, like work together.
Wow.
I love their absolutely tongue in cheek storytelling.
The tongue's going through the cheek, bro. So sorry, you were saying that it's going a bit slow. If what is the option if they don't go in that trajectory? Because it seems like that's the only way it can go. Like everything is pointing towards the UEE is invading Nyx. How do they just back out of this and take the easy way out then?
Vandal invade.
Oh, god dang it. Oh, you're so right. That's what's gonna be. Yeah. How did I not think of that?
And you know when they're gonna invade? When Squad 42 comes out. It's gonna be coincide with Squad 42, because they can be like, we don't have to hide the Vandal models anymore because it's in the game. Right. You know. So
yeah. So you still think Squadron's coming out this year then, huh?
Yes. I've been saying it's coming out in October for a while because it matches up perfectly, so that they can avoid the problems of November, which is when GTA 6 is going to release. So they can release it before GTA 6 and gather that I've got money in October and I can't spend it on GTA. What am I going to spend this money on? Oh, this looks like an interesting single player game that I can play for a couple of hours, and while you know, GTA before GTA is released, sort of thing. The Baldur's Gate 3 approach.
This rich person has the freaking PlayStation 5 and a PC now.
I mean, yeah.
I don't even say the Xbox anymore. What have they done?
They're dead. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the death of Xbox. It's sad.
Holy crap, dude.
As from one Halo game into another, I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. I'm so tired.
I need a weapon. Oh, it sucks to see, dude. Xbox is actually done. It's crazy. It's like for like a good decade, we were like denying it ever since that Xbox One reveal. Pretty much done and good now. Me and Mrs. Tomato were just talking the other day. We're like, okay, I guess we're getting a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Gosh, that sucks. Were you talking
anyways about Squadron 42?
Yes. I was going to ask about so a lot of people think that like Chris talking about VR means that Squadron's getting delayed.
No.
You think you think they can get it working that well in Squadron by then?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. So the thing that people need to understand is watch Squadron footage.
True. Yeah.
Everything it's all animated. All of the button pushes, the switch flicks, your Moby glass, every motion is animated, and they have kinematics, inverse kinematics that they've used for like the movement and like the players moving around. So like that's one of the reasons why Star Citizen looks so good with VR right now, is because it was done as a side project by Sylvan and a couple of people over the course of like half a year on their free time. And it looks good. This was a side project that they did. They weren't being paid for it. They just did it. So now that they're going to get paid for it and they're going to put time in it, yeah, it's going to be fine. Like,
I know I think we all knew that it was being built with VR in mind. But do you think there was any active changing of minds that Sylvan was able, or anybody who was working on this was able to do in the upper levels of CIG, maybe to get people more on board?
100%. It's because of the response that the VR community had to Star Citizen getting VR. Like, I was blown away. It was absolutely insane.
The response or the reaction?
Response.
Okay.
They were so happy and they were so excited about it. And it was like all of these like random VR channels and content creators and like VR news sites were talking about it. It was like a huge news for these people. Like, I've never seen this sort of reaction from a community outside of Star Citizen talking about Star Citizen. A lot of people being like, I didn't know about this game now and until now, and now I want it.
Yeah,
and I think
I've been seeing people who have come in and they're like, I've just jumped in this because it got VR a couple months ago. Like, wow, that's pretty crazy.
So I think that response, like, because Chris is, according to publicly, according to every developer I know who's talked to Chris, says that Chris is, for better or for worse, probably watching this video right now. Hi, Chris. He's probably, but he's in the community all the time. He's reading Reddit. He's going on Twitter. He's on Spectrum. He's posting like, hey, do you see this cool thing here? And post it to their internal chat all the time.
I wonder if you ever saw my Chris phone.
Oh yeah, you got one of those too. I know Buster had one too, you know.
Yeah, always emergencies. But every time I just got the answer of buy more ships. I don't know. He's probably like, that's such a bad joke. Thanks.
We made fun of him for being a nerd earlier. I mean,
well, I mean, we're all
lovingly, you know.
I know how bad dance moves look in Las Vegas. So, like, you know, that's all experience.
But I think that he saw the same reaction that the rest of us did and was like, all right, we'd be stupid not to do this, because I'm sure he did that, talked with Sylvan and said, how long would it take you to get into Squadron? And Sylvan probably said, like, yeah, a couple months if you paid me. And I mean, think about it. Like, this is, again, a side project they did over like 6 months to a year. When they actually get budget for it and timed where like they're actually getting paid for it, they'll do it faster because they don't have to, like, they can make it part of their routine rather than just being like a side thing.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, and who knows what a full feature means? Full body motion. I don't think so.
It just means controls. Your hands. It's motion controls in your head, but like, you know, it's what you have with the one. I've got VR. Let me pull out my
little handle.
Yeah, these things. You know. Yeah.
Put my arm through it.
Yeah. these little. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it works with that would be sick. I've never played a game with this before. So.
Yeah, I mean, if they did it with these, I think it would work, because it's basically an Xbox. These are basically controllers that are just broken up into two hands with some extra movement stuff to it.
Mm-hmm.
So the tricky part is going to be getting things to react to the movement rather than a button click. But they've already have all the animations, so it's just a matter of matching the animations to touching it with the motion. That's all it is.
It has really benefited them building this all for themselves.
Yeah, Chris's own obsession with immersion has made it so that it's super easy to VR.
So. Let's get back to lore real quick, because we didn't get to touch fully on where the story is going. So we talked about kind of like what it might do to Nyx and all that stuff. But how are you feeling about the way they're setting up factions and characters and starting to have us like talk to people? Or does the lore feel like it's getting the proper depth and respect that you were thinking it would?
No, but I also think it's still early days. I think they still have a chance to pull it off. One of the biggest problems they have is that they have this, I guess it's like Squadron 42 syndrome, where in Squadron there are good guys and bad guys, because you have to have a bad guy. Even if you make that bad guy sympathetic in the narrative, you have in Squadron 42 you have, or single player, you know, you have a chance to like do a cinematic, you have a chance to like talk with that person in a cutscene or something like that. Like there's at least like some way of getting that across. Whereas in Star Citizen, there is no way to get it across. They tried to do that with oh gosh, what's her name? the one with the Polaris, the head of the Frontier
Boyd.
Fighters,
Amelia Boyd.
Amelia Boyd, when she kept trying to like guilt trip you, like that merman, that guy had a son and a family you killed, you monster.
That was
The
so
problem
funny,
is,
dude.
she says that, and then most of us are like, I was paid to kill them. They killed millions of people.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like in the lore, these people killed millions of people in Stanton just so they could justify the genocide of Pyro. These are not good people. These are awful people. So
This is like the scum of the earth, and she's like, "Have some sympathy."
there's a great German like comedy routine where it's like these Germans. It's like it takes place during like before World War II, and these two guys in Nazi uniforms are walking up and they're talking. This other guy who's on a bicycle says Nazi, and they go, "Oh, hold on, wait, just because you disagree with me, I'm a Nazi," and they're literally wearing a Nazi uniform. It was felt like that. I'm like, you what?
Yeah. No, that was a really funny, like, not only was it funny that she was saying that, it was also funny that she would just take the time to call every single person that killed someone and like, ma'am, aren't you running from the law? They can track your number, you know. Crazy. So they're not, like you're saying, they're missing the shades of gray.
They're missing some of the shades of gray in the sense of creating factions which players should be invested in some way. Like the Moraine are an interesting group of people. I think some people are saying like the Moraine would never attack these Alliance Aid craft, and I'm like, yeah, they would, 100% they would, because they're being escorted by Citizens for Prosperity, and CFP are a bunch of stooges. They hate, people like CFP. They would attack CFP. Oh, but it's going to hurt people. They don't care. Their goal is to overthrow the UEE. Like they don't care about a couple people getting hurt because people are going to get hurt in the revolution. So why care about it, kind of thing. So, but I mean, you don't really know that unless you know the lore. So
yeah,
there's no way of talking with a member of the Moraine to hear them say that sort of thing, being like, collateral damage is a nature of the beast. And there's no way of working for, like, one of the things that I was hoping they would do, and I still hope they will do, is allow you to work with every group that isn't outright hostile, like the Vanduul.
Yes.
But if you want to make those groups also hostile to the players, you have to teach the players that they're hostile. So people are like, I'm going to work for Xenothreat because I don't like Xenos. And then you go there and then they betray you instantly. Because like, yeah, sure, kid, you want to work, you would go on this mission, and then they just lock you in a bunker and try to kill you or actively kill you. And then they don't call you anymore. And you'd be like, oh, I was backstabbed.
People would be like, this game
I don't
sucks,
like these guys. Dude. Yeah. I mean, you have to make it obvious, like nothing personal, kid. And you're like, you really think you're going to join us, you stupid idiot? Just call you all sorts of like awful slurs as they can.
User.
Like, yeah. But I mean, like they could do that. And I think that's a great way of teaching players the universe is consequences. Because a lot of players are going to be like, I'm going to go with whatever I think is the coolest, what gives me the best skins, or gives me the best like money. And if CIG wants people, because they want to, because they were like, Frontier Fighters has the coolest skins, but we also want to make them evil. So, but there was no consequences for it. There's no consequences for choosing the Frontier Fighters. And it was sort of just like, by the way, they're evil guys. It was like, what? That wasn't telegraphed at all. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, that was a rough one. Do you think they've had any more trip ups like that since they started?
Oh, no. They've done a pretty good job of keeping it. I think Yorit and the ASD storyline really did save them, because props to the Yorit's voice actor. He is so good at his job. I mean, he played one of the major like antagonists of Baldur's Gate 3. So,
really?
Like, yeah, he plays the Emperor in Baldur's Gate 3. So,
I wonder if he's coming back. I mean, yeah, Yorit's still out there somewhere, right?
He's not dead. He's still around. Yeah. I would love to see him come back as an occasional antagonist and some sort of like science gone mad awry sort of situation again.
Maybe like a late game mission giver.
Maybe I could see that as a sort of like a the council.
Yeah.
Mission lines.
That's the other thing about Pyro. Technically Pyro is like the end of Star Citizen, right? Well, the end of Star Citizen 1.0. So them not building it out, like I thought it was interesting that the one storyline we have starts in what is supposed to be the late game system.
Mhm.
Do you think there's like do you think they're gonna change that around or like does it even matter since Pyro is late game, they don't need to work on it as much now?
I don't think they'll change it around, but I do think that they might do it despite it being the late game. You know, because you don't have to do the ASD storyline from Stormbreaker. You can just do the Onyx missions.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want the full context, you have to go to the Stormbreaker to go to the to hear his voice stuff there.
Yeah.
And I think that'll still exist, even though the regen crisis will have been far and solved by the time 1.0 comes out. I think they'll keep that stuff there as sort of a this is an old facility. Especially if players play the Onyx missions and then they get to that or somehow drive those people to Stormbreaker, the people will go, "Oh no, this is Dr. Yorit.
Yeah,
What
that
is he
actually be
doing
nice.
in this super late game area? Wait, this is before the events of Onyx? What? You know, kind of."
That would be a cool setup, yeah.
Yeah, so like I trust as silly as it because we give him a lot of got a lot of guff, but I trust Elliot. I think Elliot and his team are pretty good at doing missions and telling stories. The lore team and the narrative team are pretty good at adapting stories for the game that they have. It's just a matter of they need the technology to exist so that they can utilize that better. And you know, sometimes you get yourself an Alliance Aid mission set, which is just other missions that already exist shoehorned into the story of what's being told, and that's
Yeah.
fine. We just need more context, you
Yeah.
know, more SSN, live broadcasts about it, more. And they do a pretty good job of like people talking about it. Like if you go into Levski, oh man, everyone is
Constantly talking.
coughing. Everyone is coughing. It is like COVID all over again. It is
Constant cough.
just yes. And then you know they set up some like hazardous areas and people walking around in hazmat suits. You can go see the actual stuff. Not everyone, just Jared. He's the only one talking Levski, but he's coughing too. So like they are doing some atmospheric stuff. I think they just need to go a little bit harder on the atmospheric stuff, a little bit more of a bump on your head to like really drive into the fact of what's going on.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's just canned missions that have existed for other mission givers forever, and they just added new things like being able to transport cryopods, and then they added some new textures for boxes. So, you know, I think they're doing that for the average sort of day-to-day sort of event that happens over the course of a patch. But I'm hoping that they also do more in depth with the mission givers and going forward with that, because I do want to see the stories that are being told, but in a sandbox method, which they just quite haven't done yet. So
definitely investigation missions. We need those to make a comeback soon.
yes, spend a lot of time on it too.
I would like to close out with a question that I saw on Reddit actually yesterday.
Okay.
Somebody posted the first 2 months, January, February, looking great, better than any other January, February that Star Citizen's ever had. They asked a simple question: why? Why do you think they're doing even better than they were last year? Continuing.
Look at the state of gaming right now. Look at the context that people are playing Star Citizen in. We have High Guard, probably one of the bigger releases. Nobody likes it. It died really, really quickly. On the multiplayer set, you got Helldivers, but Helldivers 2's sort of newest update sort of petered out with the failure of the invasion of Cyberstan. So like that's really not there. There's a couple of other sort of PvP, PvE sort of live service games which have done some things, but a lot of them are dying. And the only thing that I've heard of really recently that's doing really well is the latest Resident Evil game, but it's a single player game. So when you're looking at like online multiplayer games, you know, Ashes of Creation is gone.
I mean, Arc
really
Raiders
not
is doing numbers.
Arc Raiders is doing well, but Arc Raiders is not really updated. much since its original release. It's got some new things here and there. Star Citizen has a new mission set, a new event. It has new ships. It has improvements to like intro missions. It now has introduction industry missions, even though a lot of those are broken. They're still there. Like there's still something to try. So I think CIG, because they've come out of a good year and are continuing to fire on all cylinders with new content and new features, that's really what's pushing them forward. I think if you are a gamer who just learned about Star Citizen in say August of last year, and you pop in every couple of months to see what's going on, and you're constantly seeing new ship, new mission, new area, new system, new planet, new event, like you might go, okay, maybe I should pull the trigger. Because there's more than a few people who I've seen go, oh, well, should I play the game now? And during this free flight, more than I've seen in the past. So I think it's just,
go ahead.
It's a situation of saturation. I think people are finally getting saturated to the point of like actually checking on this scam of a space game and going, oh, maybe I should play it. It's free to play this week. Oh, I'll play it. And then getting it and being like, I would like a game package, please.
It's 50-50, man. Sometimes you get it and you're like, what the hell is this?
What is this? Sometimes it's, what the hell is this positive? In the sense of like, I can't believe what I am seeing. And not even like this game is buggy. I think the biggest sentiment I've heard from a lot of like more mainstream and normie gamers when it comes to Star Citizen is you play it and it's a buggy mess and you get thrown around all the time and it can be frustrating, but nothing is trying to do this like CIG is. No one else is trying to do something this insane. And they can see that like, well, if you work out these issues, this game's going to be amazing. And you're getting that average person seeing that vision, which before was just people like you and me who are insane, like clinically insane for following this game for as long as we have. For you having, gotten married, have a house and have a kid before the game's even released sort of thing.
You could say that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And I mean, you make a good point. But it's also like, that's what's interesting to me about all of these kinds of things is like ashes of creation for a lot of people. Rather, a lot of like when something is working out and it's on the up and up, there are obviously people who will stick to their guns. They'll say what they think, and I have respect for those people. But there are a lot of people who will flip their decision based on how things are. If Star Citizen having a bad year, it's a scam. If having a good year, then wow, it's going somewhere. And I do think that there's some level of, once you see consecutive updates and you see enough of those things like you're saying, you start to be like, dude, it's not stopping. Why wouldn't I at least try it if the content's being delivered?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the key is really that when the game's going into the pace it is, or when it's not slowing down, we are so spoiled as a community. And I really want to emphasize this because people like to say, oh, Star Citizen isn't really open development. It's not really. They have live streams with the developers. They've done it now like twice in 2 weeks. There are 3 times in the last like 4 weeks where they have like the CTO, the head of missions, the head of like gameplay, and the entire sound team are coming on to talk about things. And they're talking about new ships coming out in 3 weeks. They're talking about future ships. They're talking about new gameplay features that are coming in. They're talking about new like back-end features that are being developed, announcing new release dates for things like new features like crafting and the new UI. They're doing like tests of new stuff. We are getting more information and more engagement out of CIG than most companies are willing to do.
Yeah.
Like
in the entirety of a game's lifetime too.
Yeah. But I mean, just right now, for sure. Like I talk about Helldivers because I've been like really immersed in it. But Helldivers is considered to be doing really, really well. But the most you get out of it is sometimes the game master will show up on Discord and talk to people, and the community manager will talk to people and answer questions. That's what you get.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we get Tyler and Ulf and Freya and those folks all doing like answering questions on Spectrum and other things like that. But that's, for us, that's like, well, that's the least you can do. And for other game communities, like, that's the biggest thing that they can do, is it's like, oh yeah, they're interacting with us. It's really hard to put that in perspective, because so many people was like, well, in this indie game that has like made by 2 people, they talk to us all the time. It's like, I too like Concerned Ape, and he's very open, but he's like a one-man development team, and he's not making Star fucking Citizen or Squadron fucking 42. Like, we're talking a huge game with a lot of complex moving parts with 1,000 people, and they're this open about development and what they're talking about. We're so spoiled when it comes to the community in terms of the game, because we get so much information. If we want to find it, it's there. So
yeah, is it reliable is another question, though.
The communication is a problem.
I think it gets them in trouble, because being open means saying things that oftentimes don't end up coming true, and it just ends up hurting you. But I do appreciate it. Like, don't get me wrong. That's what I'm here for, dude. I am all about the sharing of information, and then us trying to figure out what is or is not believable. Obviously, it's a journey figuring out what should and should not be taken at face value. And, we all have our phases that we go through and whatnot. But I would definitely not, like, there's a reason I've been drawn to this game. There are other cool games that are being developed, but like, it's really, really, really nice to see how it's actually done to some extent. Yeah. And also, like you said, dude, we keep talking about a marketing campaign for Squadron 42, but what we get from Star Citizen is already equivalent to a marketing campaign from a normal company. I remember when CD Projekt Red ran one of the biggest marketing campaigns for Cyberpunk you can do. And that was like 5 developer interviews, and it was like 4 videos maybe. And they were short videos with B-roll and like explanation and stuff. That's a normal month from CIG, and they would have to switch it from Star Citizen to Squadron. But if they released 4 months worth of inside Star Citizens, but they were about Squadron 42, that's a marketing campaign, right?
Yeah. I mean, I still think they need to do trailers, but that's just me.
Yeah. Trailers are another side of it, but like, equivalent to what another company does, they really don't have to change much of what they're doing to ramp up the marketing for that.
They'd have to drag the Squadron devs away from their desks.
Yeah, that's about it.
Which is the hard part, because they're not used to it like the Star Citizen devs. Some of them aren't the same. So
yeah, that's why they're waiting. They're waiting until the devs all finish their work. All right, man. To wrap things up, we're going back to the old launch sequence predictions table.
Woo!
I don't actually have your old prediction written down here. I think it might have been on the old page. So
okay.
I'm going to give you the ability to renew yourself. What is your new prediction for the next 3-ish? Hold on, let me click your page here and see if there's anything.
Wow.
Prediction.
I usually go bold on this podcast. I usually say something very, very controversial.
Well, let me see if I wrote it on it, because I switched over all of my note taking in the last couple of months. Let me see. Last time I had you on, here we go. December 22nd. No, I forgot to ask you in the 22nd. That's right. I remember, because somebody said it in the comments. So we don't have one from you, my friend. Now is the opportunity. For the record.
So for the next 3 months, or for the next year?
I mean, you're going to be back on here let's say in the next 2-3 months. Yeah.
Okay. I think by Invictus, we will have the Zeus suit, the Zeus Titan suit. It's a Squadron 42. It is a Squadron 42 asset. And we've seen them add a bunch of Squadron 42 assets. It is the same skeleton mesh as the ATLS. And it's clear it's going to be coming to Star Citizen at some point. And it's such an easy, like, gimme, $50-$60 to sell. It's a mech suit, a combat mech suit. Yeah, people are going to buy the power armor. I mean,
Dude, that's
come on.
literally going to be like probably the ability to go up against small ships.
Yeah. Small ships or other vehicles. Yeah.
Dang.
And it's a
We'll
mech
see.
suit, you know?
Yeah, you love that. You and Logan are going to go crazy.
It is. I am biased as hell with that prediction, but I still think I made that prediction at the very beginning of the year on my channel. I said that's what we're going to see this year in terms of ships. The other easy ones are super easy. Everyone knows it. Like we're going to get the Hull B in probably by March because the Hull B is ready to go.
Yeah. Hull B's good to go.
We're going to get the
there's a new Origin ship coming. What do you think that is?
Okay, this is another prediction. I have a feeling. I have a strange feeling with this one. I think it's going to be the Origin 200i. And it's going to be a fast terrapin.
Bro, that's... No, don't say that. I don't like that too much.
The reason why
terrapin
is that in lore, the 200i is supposed to be a quote-unquote observation ship. And if I'm putting my CIG developer skills in terms of getting into their brains, I'm saying, okay, I take a look at that. What can I do with this? What's like an observation ship? Oh, scanning, exploration. So why don't I do an exploration ship from Origin? Call it the 200i. Make it somewhere between the 300 and 200. Make it a starter exploration ship. So like you'd go from it to a terrapin.
If it was between, here's what I would have loved is they had left the 300 the same size it was originally and then made the 400i the 500.
Yeah.
Then we could get like a 400i that was like a nice 25, 30 meters long ship like you're talking about. But that sounds cool too. I like an Origin scanning focused ship.
And the reason why I think it works out is because if you look at their progress tracker for scanning, which is their internal goals, not necessarily they're going to hit their goals, but their internal goals, that progression ends at Invictus. And what's 3 months from now? Invictus.
We shall see. That's yeah.
So,
all right, we'll put it down. It's down on the predictions table. We got the
that one's
B.
more. I'm probably going to be wrong with the 200i, but if I'm right, that is going to be another Castro moment.
Well, there will be an Origin ship of some sort.
Yes, we know that for sure.
And now it is on the record. Besides that, we know that they have the Drake ship they're working on, probably the Ironclad. Was there anything else?
I have a bold prediction that people aren't going to like that I'm probably going to be wrong on, but I don't think the Raylan's coming out until the end of the year.
No? I could see it going both ways.
It's in white box still. Like it just entered gray box, and it's like that's really fast for a ship that size to go from gray box to release by Alien Week.
I agree.
So it'll be Alien Week.
But it's Alien Week, dude.
They've never given us anything for Alien Week. They've never given us anything for Alien Week. They've been predicting
drop an
alien
ship at another point in the year, though. That's like giving people presents when it's not Christmas. Just weird.
They do that all the time. They should do it, but they don't. It's such a bad planning on their part.
It's wrong. Alien Week is for the aliens.
Gosh, another
so racist.
Skyrim's from the Nords, all right. God. Oh yeah, the other prediction, which is long term, which is we'll have refining by IAE because the galaxy's coming out of IAE.
Refining would be cool. It's not going to be the Expanse, so I don't care.
I mean, we'll probably have the Expanse before then or around then too, because I mean, they made the joke about like what's the next year? It's expansive, and it was John Crew. He loves his puns.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
He also loves his misdirects, so who knows? But at the same time, Thorsten was talking about the way he was talking about in his very German way of talking about like the systems they're working on. It sounded like he was just like, yeah, no, refining working. We're working on refining.
I hope so.
Different from. So.
I hope. All right, man. This has been a fantastic talk. This is the longest launch sequence podcast episode I think we've ever had, folks. We did it.
I'll break the record next time. My own record.
Can you let the folks know where they can find your own long pod? And his podcast is longer than this, so.
Yes.
This is just
The
a
Captain Stable
warm-up.
Podcast, youtube.com/@the Captain Stable Podcast, or on Spotify or wherever fine podcasts can be found, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all those sorts of things, is the Captain Stable. If you want to hear me talk for long periods of time on a live stream, I do that, and also play games. I do that on youtube.com/TheAstroPub Live and twitch.tv/TheAstroPub. And if you want to hear me talk about lore for far too long, and join the Shelly Sleep Squad like Mr. Tomato, you can check us out at youtube.com/TheAstroHistorian. So.
Yeah, I'm a big I was just telling him before the show today that I'm like half his views on his history of Star Citizen videos. Go watch them if you haven't. They're great. Good lore in this game.
We are planning on, me and Uri are planning on combining all of the current ones into a giant single video to make it sort of act one of the story. So
yeah, cool.
And there will be one after that, but it'll probably not be till summer.
Can't wait, dude. All right, man. Thank you so much for joining me for this chat. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you enjoyed this, make sure to recommend it to your other Star Citizen friends. There's a lot of people that we need to reach with the good news. Share it about. Or you could give a like or a review or something, or comment below. I don't know. Either way, I thank you for listening and getting this far. If you did, it means a lot. I hope you guys had a good one and enjoyed the show, learned something new, and I will see you all next week.